Welcome back to the Fire Sale franchise, and I've actually just realised something quite important. So we're sat here week 14 at 5-7. Now you might think that's a terrible record because it's a terrible record, and the target we gave ourselves at the beginning of the season was 7-9, and now as we've been doing badly, there's been some murmurs, shall we say, in the comments about maybe doing a little worse, tanking to get a higher draft pick. However, something very important that I only just noticed, we are first in the NFC South. And now of course we're all here at 5-7, and the Saints, Falcons and Buccaneers have all won 2 divisional games, so technically we're tied in that sense. So if we win out in the division, and we've got one other game against the Cardinals, which is at the Cardinals, so it's going to be very tough. But if we beat the Falcons and the Buccaneers twice, I genuinely think we're going to be going to the playoffs with an 8-8 record. And we could potentially even go to the playoffs with a 7-9 record, like the Seattle Seahawks did in 2010. And we all know what they did in 2010 because it happened to us, the Saints. So basically there is no reason to start doing badly because we may still make it to the playoffs, and at this point, if our division is going to be this bad, we're going to do absolutely everything we can to go to the playoffs. And it starts here with an away game at the Buccaneers, who I honestly believe we can beat if they have the same record as us at this point of the season. So on their first drive, the Buccaneers drive all the way down. Jameis Winston has all sorts of time and can just find a gap in our zone coverage to Mike Evans and throws the touchdown. So they go up 7-0, but we respond on the second play of the game for us with a huge play from Keith Marshall. As soon as he gets to that outside, nobody's catching him. This play is close, but he's not going to catch him, and Keith Marshall just runs in for the touchdown. His 10th career rushing touchdown, which is of course also his 10th this season. And here's a nice sack there from a blitzing corner. And Joshua Perry, who I think at the moment has been playing better than Scooby Wright. And here on this play again, Joshua Perry just blows up that hole. Doesn't quite manage to tackle Martin, but shoves him back. And Ebner and I believe Flowers are able to make that tackle for a loss. Now it's our time again on offense, and that's just a bad throw. I don't know exactly what went wrong there, but it just shouldn't have been made. An unfortunate interception, but our defense looks after us, limits the damage to just the field goal, so it's only 3 points, 10-7 now, plenty of time left in the second half. But we did nothing with our next position, punted it away. Jameis Winston had all sorts of time again, and that's just a really nice tackle from Ebner. Ebner played perfectly today, didn't make any mistakes, and here on 4th and 1, we went for it. Enrico Gathers just turns it into a 23-yard run, and you can see Chris Conti just jumping on the back and going for a ride. He's so big. And then on this play here, this is just unfortunate. Finds Sudfeld, bounces out of Sudfeld's hands into the hands of Levante David. This is why I've put Rico Gathers as the starting tight end. Sudfeld just seems to be involved in things like that a little too often. He doesn't run nice enough routes, takes too long to get open, but the defense looks after us again. That 3rd and 1 turns into a punt, and this is the same play as before, except for this time Malcolm Mitchell springs Marshall loose with a huge block. Georgia blocking for Georgia there, and a huge play again, the same play. This was originally 4th and 1, turned into 4th and 6 with a false start. They still decided to go for it, and he actually completes the pass to Mike Evans, but then Akeem Davis comes over the top, just drills Evans, jars the ball loose. Joshua Perry there to recover it, and what could have been a pretty embarrassing series there turns into no points given up. We go down, we kick a field goal. That's a 50-yard field goal there, just gets it in. Not great weather for kicking field goals, a bit windy, but we get it in. And then look at this play from Pierre Lewis, just a sack, doesn't even bite on the play fake. Kevin Pierre-Louis, without a doubt, is the best defensive player on the team. And then this is a nice play, no pressure on Jameis Winston, has all day, but Dexter McDougal, final second, just undercuts that route. Winston never even saw the guy coming, and the defense has been looking out for us all day long. Now we're just running out the clock, and this run from Marshall, not only was it huge, not only did he break like 2 tackles, but it put him over 200 yards rushing for the day. I don't think we've ever won a game by 14 points. That's 2 full scores. I don't think that's ever happened. And what a game! We just ran over the Buccaneers. They had absolutely no chance of stopping our run game, so he had to do absolutely nothing all day, but completed 83% of his passes because he had to do nothing all day. I believe this is the first time Keith Marshall has gone over 200 yards, 210 yards, 9.1 yards per carry average, 3 touchdowns. It was his day today. He was running the show. Receivers wise, nobody did much. Brandon Coleman had a pretty good day. Rico Gathers had that huge 4th down conversion that he took for another 23, 26 yards, something like that. Defensively today, Nate Ebner was having a great day. Just didn't really make any mistakes. A bunch of good tackles. And Kevin Pierre-Louis, What a guy. Absolute, no doubt will be the defensive captain next year. This year I didn't really look into things like that, but this guy is the absolute leader of the team. A huge sack, just a bunch of tackles everywhere, good in coverage. I love this player. And Akeem Davis as well, with that huge forced fumble. They convert the 4th down or 3rd down or whatever it was, and he just blows up the receiver, forces the fumble. What a great play. A huge win there against the Buccaneers probably keeps us first in the division. I can't see how it wouldn't. And of course, as always, we've got some more college players to scout. I don't actually remember what I did the last time, so I'm just going to do some more defensive tackles. And there's not great ones. As soon as you get in 3rd round, they're all undrafted talent. Although there is one 1st rounder in the 2nd round, but that's about it. So unlike last year, a pretty awful defensive tackle group here. Look at all these guys, just all undrafted talent. Alright, so time for game 2. The Cardinals away from home. They are 8-5, so they're not doing that great either. And before we do anything, I've just seen something in that news bit. So Keith Marshall was named NFC Offensive Player of the Week, of course for his 210 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns. And I actually thought this is the first time a player got this award. I do check every now and then, but I hadn't checked in a while. And back in week 12, Brandon Coleman got the award when he had 8 receptions, 170 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns. So huge performances from those guys on those weeks. And we've now had 2 players named NFC Offensive Players of the Week. So we learned what we already knew. We have some studs on offense. And this isn't an impossible game. They've only won 2 more games than us. That's not that far ahead of where we are. But you never know. If we believe in our ground game, we might just get this done. This next play is a trend in the rest of the game, and no, it's not our middle linebacker tripping up on the blitz. It's the fact that they can't get any yards and actually lose yards going to the outside on us. We had the outsides locked up all day, and this is real nice because we get some pressure from the inside there from Devon Still, forces an incomplete pass, and that makes it 4th and 5, so we get the ball without any points given up, and then we try to go to the outside, and like I said, it just doesn't work, and it's because of Patrick Peterson. Anytime we go to the right side, Patrick Peterson seems to be making a tackle. We're on 3rd and 10 here. We try a pitch to the outside with DJ Foster. Almost had it in him. Gets 6 yards out of the 10, but doesn't get enough, so we go for the field goal. We make the field goal, and Jeff Driscoll just overthrows his man Fitzgerald here. Perfect pickoff by DeJuan Smith. Maybe makes the wrong choice with where he had to run, but he didn't really have a choice as he had to vault over Fitzgerald on the floor. But an amazing interception sets us up for another field goal, which we do convert again. So we're up 6-0, end of the 1st quarter. But this time the Cardinals move the ball a little bit better. We almost get some pressure on Driscoll. We do push him out of the pocket. They push him all the way to the left. He throws across the field to the right side to Jerome Brown and gets a touchdown. Cornerback wasn't able to make a play on either the player or the ball. So we get the ball back, and this is a perfectly executed play. Watch the strong safety on the right side. Bites down on the play fake. Coleman's wide open here. Drops into the basket, but just a perfect play from their cornerback. Just gets his hand in the way, otherwise that would have been a touchdown. But we get another chance at another play, and we make a mistake there. We try and catch Patrick Peterson on a timing pattern. That's just not going to work. He's twice as fast as your receiver. He breaks on the ball faster. We do get the ball back, not giving up any points. And this is Rico Gathers. Had a good play in the last week. A huge play here. Just rumbles down the sideline. That's a big man not getting caught from behind for the touchdown. 6'6", 67 yards on the touchdown. Just an incredible play from a big guy. And we're giving Driscoll too much time in the pocket here. Coverage is good, but we're not getting any pressure. Finally, Flowers brings the pressure, not only sacks him, forces the fumble as well. So a huge play from Flowers there. Has already made a couple today. And then Joshua Perry just ties a bow on the defensive series. A huge hit there. A loss of 3 yards, and they go down on 4th and 20. We take a timeout because we may get a chance to kick a field goal. We do get into 52-yard range, and he is good on the field goal. That's probably his longest of the season. 16-7 we go into halftime. It's certainly looking a lot better than I expected, probably down to Driscoll being the quarterback, and here plenty of time for Hackenberg, can just find Mike Thomas there. Easy touchdown, and he ties Russell Wilson's 2012 touchdown record, which is also Peyton Manning's record, which is also the all-time rookie touchdown record. He's tied it with 2 games left. And then we just exchange a couple of field goals there. They get one, we get one. It's 25-10. And at this point, we're running out the clock. We've basically already won. 4th and 12 here. If we stop this conversion, we can just run out the clock. But we don't. They actually complete the pass. We're not too good on 4th down, but their luck does run out here. 4th and 8. They go for it again. Almost a touchdown. A good play from the cornerback there. Breaks it up, and then we can just kneel. Final kneel to run out the clock, and we've won the game. Okay, so we are officially in the playoff hunt. Who expected that at the beginning of the season? I mean, who expects it now? The Cardinals we beat because they were starting Jeff Driscoll at quarterback, who had a 62 completion percentage for 132 yards. So we can't exactly think we beat the best possible Cardinals. The defense was still good, but they showed us they were good by keeping us to pretty low yardage. Christian Hackenberg, 1 interception, which, you know, we learned from our mistakes pretty quickly. You don't throw at Patrick Peterson. Even if you think you have him beat on a timing route or anything like that, he's going to jump your guy. He's twice as fast. He just absolutely stole that interception. 80% completion percentage, because again, we were going pretty safe with it. Rushing wise, Keith Marshall didn't get too much going. 76 yards, 22 attempts, 3.4 average. Rico Gathers had an absolutely insane day. 109 yards and a touchdown. That long touchdown. Michael Thomas, 48 yards. Malcolm Mitchell, a couple. Coleman, a few. And Mobo got us the first down at one point. Defensively, today was Trey Flowers' day. Last week, Nate Ebner couldn't have played any better. This week, Trey Flowers, 2 sacks, 8 tackles. DeJuan Smith not only had an interception, but also had 2 tackles for a loss. And Trey Flowers had a forced fumble as well. So he's got 2 sacks. He leads the team in tackles this week, and he's got a forced fumble. At this point, I really don't know which positions to scout any more specifically. So I'm just going to scout left outside linebacker, because you might as well scout something. And again, nothing here. This is the same as the defensive tackles. We start quite well, 1 and 2, and then you just get all undrafted talent. Not even going to bother doing the 7th round if he's undrafted talent. When I can't find out because I don't have enough scouting points. That's it for the scouting this week. So might as well in this episode make this big injury decision, which isn't really a big decision. Basically, we're just going to have to not start him through injury. There's absolutely no reason to do that. So we'll start backup, which is actually our number 1 receiver anyway. So really not a decision at all. And now we are 7 and 7, so we've hit our target. The worst we can do is 7 and 9, so I've already got what I said I would get. More importantly, we could end up not only 8 and 8, we could end up 9 and 7. We could finish the season over 500 after some awful losses to begin the year. We could potentially actually finish over 500. So we are 7 and 7, 500 right now. The first time this season we've been 500. We started out the season, the first 4 games we went 1 and 3, and in those first 4 games we conceded 147 points and scored 78. And that includes our first game, our very first game with all these new players. We lost 51-14. Now we're 500 with a chance to potentially clinch the NFC South if we beat the Buccaneers this week. If we beat the Buccaneers and the Falcons lose to the Panthers, we clinch the NFC South, because at that point we'll be 8 and 7, the Falcons will be 7 and 8, and then whatever happens when we play the Falcons in week 17, final game, it doesn't matter, because even if they beat us, we'll both be 8 and 8, and we'll have won 4 division games, and they'll have only won 3. So either we clinch the division against the Buccaneers if the Falcons lose, and if not, it comes down to the game against the Falcons. If we beat the Buccaneers and the Falcons win, we have to beat the Falcons to actually get into the playoffs. If we lose to the Buccaneers and the Falcons win, once again, we have to beat the Falcons to get into the playoffs. I'm pretty sure my maths is right there, so basically, technically, whatever happens this week is irrelevant because it all comes down to this final game against the Falcons. But if we win against the Buccaneers and the Falcons lose, it doesn't even matter that final game because we already clinched the NFC South. I can't believe I genuinely didn't even realize we were in the playoff conversation, but it turns out we are.